And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. I'm Randy Peterson. Joining me in the booth once again, Tom Carter. Tom, thanks for being here.
Enjoy it.
We have a good chemistry, man. We might as well keep this train rolling, right?
That's it. I'm all in.
So we've got another great Stepladder finals. Some heavy hitters with Walter Ray Williams Jr., Bob Learn Jr. What do you expect to see in this Stepladder finals tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be exciting. We got a birthday boy in, Marty Burke, in the first match. First time he's been on. Ryan Shafer making his first PBA50 show. And we got the GOAT on top. So I think we're going to see some action tonight.
And, Tom, we've had big scores throughout the couple of days here in Farmingdale, New York. And Ryan Shafer getting us off with a big strike there to start his opening match against the birthday boy,
Marty Burke. He was kind of amazing in the position round. He needed the first strike in the 10th to make it to the show. And he threw the ball, and the 10-pin was standing, and it kind of looked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It just went over.
We covered that in Xtra Frame, and it was pretty cool to watch for Marty. What a week for him.
His first shot on the show. Marty likes playing outside. He likes this short pattern. Anytime he can play outside of the first arrow, he's at home.
Well, he's not a big rev guy, and so you've got to figure that his best chance is to stay as far right as possible and use friction.
And that's exactly what he does. He uses aggressive stuff, stays outside, and just lets it roll to the pocket. Oh, got that in, got around it a little bit early at the bottom of the swing. He's got to be a little bit nervous in the first time on the show.
Without question. He's been a member since 2001. No wins in any of the PBA divisions. Next week in the following events for Marty, he gets to compete as a super senior.
Yeah, he just turned 60, and so I'm quite sure that he's going to be at the Super Senior Masters out west, and then the Fort Wayne PBA60 tournament, the very last tournament of the swing.
Ryan Shafer, a 5-time winner on the PBA Tour, and his best finish on the Senior Tour right here last season. He finished 8th. The 1987 PBA Rookie of the Year and a 2-time Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award winner.
Ryan's got kind of a unique game. He gets around the ball pretty quick. It looks like it's spinning like crazy going down the lane.
We used to call it the voodoo roll. And, you know, I've always said about Ryan Shafer, if you could get inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame with 5 titles or less, Ryan would be the first guy to go in. Multiple second-place finishes in majors, multiple telecasts in majors, and the only thing missing on Shafer's resume is wins. He could have easily been in double digits.
He always seemed to find a way to make it to the show on a major.
Extremely tough in majors, and a lot of that was that role, that unique role that he has, but he's also a shot maker, and he was so competitive in his PBA career, especially in major championship competition.
Well, I think he liked that U.S. Open pattern because it was flat and it was dry, and that voodoo roll got the ball down the lane and give him back in. He got it through the front part of the lane fairly easy with that small track that he has because he gets around it so quick.
Here it comes, and there it goes. You see that cell phone-looking thing on Ryan Shafer's hip, right there on his left hip. He's actually a diabetic. That's an insulin pump. And now Marty Burke trying to tie things up here.
Marty throwing a phase 2. He used it all week. Pin down. Well, the pin's basically right next to his ring finger, which is kind of a strong drilling, not that far from your axis. Hold down so it starts up. Because if you watch him, his wrist is kind of broken at the bottom of the swing, so he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't put a lot of revs on it. He needs some friction to help the ball turn the corner down lane. You always see Marty kind of going at the pocket, where obviously you're seeing Ryan swing in the lane, and we got some players coming up you're going to see going at the pocket. So Marty could just be making the shot better for them.
Well, I thought it was just great watching him perform in the 10th frame of the last game of position round when he needed that first strike in the 10th frame, and he got it. Marty also a very good cornhole player. I watched him in action. Good shot.
Well, you got to think that some of the straight guys would be, because they have to be a little bit more accurate. They can't create the area.
Listen, if we ever have a doubles competition in cornhole, I want either Marty or Walter Ray, and I've never seen Walter Ray play.
Yeah, well, you'd have to think as good as he is at horseshoes.
Exactly.
He could probably hit that. Ryan throwing 2 different balls. He's throwing a Kingpin Max. That's a big ball for Brunswick. That was the magic ball for him last week, where he finished so well. Chuck Gardner drilled that up for him. He called it this magic ball, put some magic surface on it, and it read the lanes perfectly for him. So he's throwing asymmetrical on the right lane and symmetrical on the left lane.
And almost a pocket 410, 10 falling late for Shafer to maintain a 1-pin lead.
Yep. Covered that easily. He's throwing a Pearl Rhino for a spare ball, which is actually, it's on the weaker line, but it's still a strong ball. It's amazing that these guys can get those balls down the lane. At my speed, that thing would have hooked somewhere over there, since my speed's so slow.
Well, you had a nice tournament. You actually got into a roll-off to get the last check with Johnny Petraglia.
That was,
and you stomped him like a narc at a biker rally.
That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life.
I mean, this guy pays you to be on their staff, Tom, and then you take him out? How dare you?
Yeah, I know. It was a no-win situation for me.
Don't worry. I already saw the notice. Yeah,
I probably got a pink slip in the mail when I get home.
Tom, you're fired. Nice shot here by Shafe. 10 in the pit. Now Burke looking to double up and take the lead.
Yeah, that was the same pair this morning that took me right out of the round to go on to the next round. It didn't play the same. Marty got that one way out and actually let it roll to the pocket instead of actually jamming it up to the pocket. Marty's always been tough on these shorter patterns. He's accurate, and when you get that much friction on the back end, and it's going to help the ball turn into the pocket, it's going to be good. You don't have to overwork the ball, and that's what a lot of us tend to do. You think you got to overdo it instead of let the lane do it for you. Wow, that was a little high, I think.
Yeah, well, the evidence was the trip 4-pin.
Well, he about tripped right into the frame, and I didn't even see it.
Great break here for Marty Burke in a 3-bagger, the trip 4.
Oh, little love tap.
Yeah, right-hander's best friend. Now Shafer, 2 strikes here. He can regain the lead. Okay, so a strike on the right and a strike on the left, because you can't throw 2 strikes on one lane.
You can't?
Unless it's the 10th frame.
Oh, we've seen 9 billion of those things this week. The 10-pin, you get a little firm and don't let the ball roll up, it's 10-pin.
Yeah, but I mean, that's an unusual 10. That's not a flat 10. It's not a ringing 10. It's like a squash 10. He actually changed balls and went back to the same ball he's using on the left lane for the right lane, and that was just an awful break.
We shot a lot of 10-pins. And it's been that way every year here, and the locals say, well, that's just the nature of the house. And we're bowling on new pins, too, so that might have a little bit to do with it. But speed was critical. You get too fast on this pattern, the ball never read the back, but you didn't want to get too slow because there's enough friction there the thing would take off.
I was speaking with Stephen Pavlenko Jr. He bowls in the center. He was telling me that there's a certain way to carry in this center, and that's to get your ball to read early.
Well, for Ryan, with that kind of a spin release that he has to use surface to get it to read earlier, or he's got to slow down. Because you can throw a great shot and you can bank it off the outside. And the only problem with banking it off a 1-2, it comes off of that so hard, it can be right through the face.
You know, we've talked about it for 2 days now on how easy it is to get to the pocket and how tough it is to strike.
Well, the scores were pretty good this week. A lot of guys struck. There was oh my, totally unexpected.
Well, right now he's gift wrapping it for Marty Burke, and Marty needs to step up here and take advantage of the opening given to him by this missed spare by Ryan Shafer.
I'm really surprised that more guys, and you see it a lot, that don't use plastic, you know, especially on short patterns to get the ball to go across the lane.
I don't use plastic, but it's only because I'm too lazy to drill one.
Well, maybe you never miss spares.
Oh, no, I do. Plenty. Nice shot there by Marty, taking advantage of the opening. Beautiful. This is tailor-made for him, using the dry part of the lane, keeping his hand up the back, letting it roll, lane and oil pattern, taking his ball to the pocket.
I think he's starting to feel very comfortable.
41-pin lead, can extend it to 51 with a strike here. Ooh.
That was just almost as high as the one he just knocked out the 4-pin. I'm surprised he didn't make a board move left, maybe a 1-and-1 to just try it, because obviously there's a little bit more friction there.
Max score now for Ryan Shafer, 218. Marty just needs to fill frames.
Whoa. I think he thought that might have been a little bit left. He's blowing out the air like, whoo.
Well, he took your advice and used a plastic spare ball at it.
He must have heard me.
Yep.
Straighter's greater.
Now Shafer needs to give his opponent something to think about with a couple of strikes here in the 8th and 9th.
He has to put some pressure back on him.
Yeah. It's just a sea of 10 pins for Shafer.
Ball is just going way too long down lane before it's making its move.
Tom, he had the bigger ball in his hand early
Right.
and went to this one. Why do you think that is?
I think he thought going to a symmetrical ball was going to give him more back in. It was going to cut in a little bit stronger once it hit the friction, come in a little higher in the pocket. And unfortunately, that's not working out either. Well, that looked like it was going to hook up and maybe miss it.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't have been a good thing.
So, Tom, in your opinion, what's the best way to attack this oil pattern for maximum carry?
Outside, staying outside, and I think personally a bigger ball outside with firm speed would be the best way. You get something too shiny in your hand, it looks good, but I just think that it's going to wiggle down lane after a couple shots.
Okay.
Ryan needs to strike here. If he doesn't strike here, it's going to be kind of Katie bar the door. He's crossing like 10, 12 at the arrows and sending it out to like 5. And the problem is if you don't get it to 5, it doesn't make it. It hits the pocket. It just doesn't strike.
I watched John Berke for about 4 games yesterday go through about 4 different balls and never strike.
Well, he's got such great speed, and he likes
speed
to kind of,
and hand.
Yeah, and he likes to kind of loop it. He didn't get far enough right, and that's the bad thing. How far is far enough? That's
right.
If you move too far right, you got to keep your speed up because there is friction out there. The ball's going to take off, and if you start it up, you're right in the face.
Now for Marty Burke, a mark in either the 9th or 10th in good count, and he's going to advance.
And he'll be bowling Michael Haugen, which is going to be probably playing the same line as Marty.
Haugen, 2017 PBA50 Rookie of the Year. Won the Senior U.S. Open for his first PBA50 Tour title.
Not a bad title to win for your first one.
Yeah. Tough tournament to win.
A lot of games. A lot of great players.
A lot of games, tough pattern. Marty's advancing.
Yep. He's going to the next game. That's going to ease the butterflies in the stomach a little bit. Long as, in which he does very well, a nice long swing, get that ball down the lane and just let the lane take it in. That's the biggest thing I think on shorter patterns. We got the 33-foot, the 35-foot, now the Johnny Petraglia 36-foot pattern. There's a lot of friction out there.
It's going to be in the 230s now.
He's it's on cruise control.
Yep. He's going to give Michael Hagen Jr. a pretty good battle here in our upcoming match. Marty Burke taking on the reigning PBA Senior U.S. Open champ, Michael Hagen Jr.
And Michael's had a pretty hot hand. He's been very competitive in every tournament.
6th, 9th, and 11th thus far this year. Finish there, Marty.
Great game for his first time on the show and his birthday. He's getting a birthday present early. His wife made a great big birthday cake. It was in the paddock.
Oh, I had some.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. You don't think you get to look like this without having birthday cake, do you?
Yeah, but you look good in pink.
Thanks, buddy.
Unfortunately, Ryan, he's just going through the motions now. He's trying to figure out what happened.
And, of course, I killed him when I predicted he was going to win his first ever PBA 50 title earlier today. But he did get to the stepladder finals, so I didn't look all that bad.
So last week when you made me pick somebody and I lost in the first round.
Exactly. That's how it works. Farmingdale Lanes and our proprietor, John Laspina. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure there's a finer proprietor in the country than John. And what him and his people do, especially for BVL and the amount of money they raise, it's just pretty amazing.
It is amazing, and he never quits.
All right, game one in the books. Marty Burke advancing to take on Michael Hagen Jr. We'll bring you that action in just a few moments. Stay with us, folks. And we are back. Randy Peterson joined by Tom Carter in the booth, along with Jeff Goodger, Curtis Von Kruger, and $2 Phil Brylow. It is match number 2. Marty Burke winning in convincing fashion in game 1. Now taking on the reigning PBA 50 Rookie of the Year, Michael Hagen Jr.
This is going to be a good match because both of them play in the same part of the lane, and Michael likes to play it straight. Marty's playing it straight, so he's a tough opponent.
You know what these two have that's different, that's completely the polar opposite of me, Tom? I don't like to play it straight. In anything I do.
That was so wrong.
All right, good shot. Opening start for Marty as he shreds the rack. Now, our first look at Michael Hagen Jr., 5-time PBA Tour champion, Tournament of Champions winner when he made that epic comeback against Chris Barnes.
That was an incredible match. Down 51 pins.
Was it 50? I was going to say it was like 63, but it was a bunch. And then all of a sudden left for dead, and then he starts to string it. And all of a sudden Barnesy started to feel it. Came down to the 10th frame. Barnes still had a chance, but Michael Hagen Jr. finished big and won his first major.
Dead flush, throwing an idol.
He's throwing a Randy Peterson ball? Wait a minute, we don't have a ball named after me.
Well, there it is right there. It's a pink idol. It matches your shirt. It's pinned down, hold down, starts up, and he's throwing a phase, hypercell fused on the left lane.
Hypercell fused.
Totally opposite. Obviously, those lanes are nothing alike. because we got a pearl ball on one and a solid on the other, symmetrical and asymmetrical.
Interesting. Marty using the same ball on both ends.
Marty using the same thing.
Just move a half a board.
Maybe a quarter board.
Remember back in the day when you could move a half a board.
Now the boards that we have to move have dots on them.
Yeah, right. Oh, you went through the nose? How many did you move? 7. What? You don't curve it? Yeah, I moved 7. Good shot here, but the ring and 10 is still there.
First attempt at a 10 pin on the show. Piece of cake. Spare ball.
He's having a good time, and that's really so much of it. As his wife's sitting right there to your left of the screen, there's his wife.
Yes.
Sitting next to John Laspina's son, Joe.
Which looks just like John.
Right.
At this point, Marty's got to be having just fun, you know.
Oh, yeah. This is great, man. Extended play. First time in the top 5 stepladder finals. Look out. Looked like he got it inside a little bit.
It looked like his hand went right around it. He tugged it in. Not one of his better shots. But you can't be – well, on that frame there, his arm did definitely get around the ball, which started the ball up soon. But you can't be giving those kind of breaks to Michael Haugen. But then again, in his position round, it didn't look like he was going to make it to the show because his first 3 frames were not that good in the position round, and all of a sudden something kicked in, and he strung a boatload of strikes to make it to the show. Michael's kind of unique. You know, everybody has high-performance bowling shoes, and he has high-performance bowling shoes with rubber on them. No slide whatsoever.
For a guy that throws it straight.
You would think being that late and having that kind of leverage, you would be curving the lane.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I just worry about, after having a knee replacement, how long is that knee going to last and take that solid stop like that?
Well, Michael's not very rotund. He's fairly slim, so I think he's probably good for a few more years until old age really catches up with him. He starts packing on the weight, but he's a slim guy, so there's not a lot of weight being put on those legs.
What are you trying to say?
You and I are fat. Hey, Tom, don't serve the softballs up over the middle of the plate because I'll just keep hitting them out. Jeff will tell you that. Right, Jeff?
Correct.
So obviously,
Jeff
Tom,
says a lot.
Yeah, I know, right? The man of many words. So obviously, Haugen knows what he's doing. 2 different balls, and he's perfect through 4.
I think he's going to be perfect farther than 4. How about that?
Well, I just opened up Jeff's mic because we need to hear from him. So, Jeff, what do you see here early on besides all the striking that Michael Haugen's doing? I mean, you got to feel like he's kind of the favorite with all the experience, don't you? Especially since he got out to an early lead, and Marty's starting to feel something he hasn't felt since the stepladder final started, and that's pressure.
Yeah, and also Michael Haugen, he led qualifying, so he feels like he should be leading this, and I think there might be a little resentment that he's in 3rd here, and maybe that's a little extra motivation.
It's a great point. High again.
Now Marty's starting to press.
Yeah.
He feels the pressure. He's behind.
Oh, yeah.
I have got to jam it in the pocket somewhere, and jamming it didn't work because he came over the top of that one again. Three, 6, 10. One of the hardest spares on the PBA50 tour to make. One way to make it, 95 ways to miss it. And unfortunately, he just took the 3 straight back off the 6-10 and gave Michael another open frame, which when you got a guy throwing 4 in a row at you, you can't afford to give him any opens. A little high. Ball came off the pattern a little strong. Strong 4-pin. Idle going straight up like 5-6. taking it out. He's not taking it out that far. He's taking it out to like 5 down lane and just letting the ball roll back.
So funny when we do Extra Frame, and especially the Stepladder finals, my phone just blows up with text messages from senior players and fans. And so if I get a little quiet, I'm either looking at these text messages, seeing if there's some pertinent information I can use, or filling out my alimony check.
A little swing action there for Michael Haugen. A little bit 7-4 there. Obviously, he's feeling these lanes are totally different.
I love the way he dead hands it and then just lets the strength of the bowling ball and the oil pattern characteristics take that ball to the pocket.
These balls today are so strong, you don't really have to overturn them. They're going to hook. Unless we got like 32 mils of oil out there at 48 feet.
Marty in trouble now. Can't strike on the right lane. Mike Haugen made him finish on the right lane. And trouble.
He fist pumped that. He thought it was there.
The winner of this match will take on Bob Learn Jr.
And Bob all week has been firing at 100 up the outside.
He's good at that. Bob's in great shape for an old guy, 56 years old, and he can still bring the heat.
Oh, he was throwing it unbelievably hard up the outside. And then after that, he's got to face Walter Ray, which was out. Then he kind of moved in, was bumping a little bit, which was really kind of surprising. He was curving it. Marty looked like he tried to give that away and hook it a little bit, and that's not one of his strengths, and that ball just hooked immediately on him. Leaving another open unless he converts this, putting Michael Haugen easily in the driver's seat.
Oh, good try.
Well, never give up. You never know what's going to happen. Get every pin you can. Ball coming in a little light. Right there at the back end. 10 pin. Nothing strange. That ball is more like 7-8. He curved that a little bit, sent it out. Just because there's a lot of friction doesn't mean it gets flushed into the pocket. And I'm surprised he hasn't thrown that spare ball of his, because I've seen him when the lanes get this dry just get dead right and use that spare ball, and he makes it look like reactive. We're talking about him and rubber on his left shoe and doesn't slide. Any of the young guys on the regular tour, dead rubber in their shoe?
Most of the right-handers only have it on their right shoe. I don't know of any that have it on their left shoe.
Back in the day, I think Jeff Staybrook.
Yeah, well, he bowled in high-top tennis shoes. That's actually true, Jeff. I think you were laughing at that. That's actually true.
Yeah.
I was doing anything but laughing.
Does that voice sound like he does a lot of laughing?
Actually, he laughs a lot when him and I are doing Extra Frame. I think I found his
weak spot.
His funny bone.
Okay.
And I tend to work that side of the street a lot, if you catch my drift. All right, Marty Burke needs to strike out to shoot 2-0-0. And that's not going to happen. Michael Hagen Jr. is going to win this match and move on to take Bob Learn Jr.
Which this pattern is, I beginning to think the first time we've bowled on it, this 36-foot pattern, the Johnny Petraglia pattern, is becoming his favorite because he can throw it hard up the outside and just let the ball just unbelievably migrate to the pocket because of the rev rate that he has with the speed that he has. I mean, he shot 300 earlier today, and made it look like it was league.
A great week for Marty nonetheless. He just got done celebrating his 60th birthday. He's going to take a lot away from this event. And so congratulations to Marty Burke and his wife, who's here in attendance watching him. Just delightful people. He's a great guy. And it's nice to see somebody have a lot of fun, especially right around their birthday. So happy birthday, Marty, and a great week.
Well, for him, I mean, all the tournaments I've seen Marty bowl and around the PBA50 and even regionals, I believe this is the first time I've ever seen his wife here. So, and it's got to be a great treat that he has his birthday, his wife gets to see it, and it's going to be something he's going to remember.
And think of the bright side, Tom. Free cake.
It was good.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, a little transition there.
Maybe a spare and then a move with the same ball.
He would either have to or get something that's a little slower on the back end and not jumping so hard off the spot.
That ball does look pretty aggressive down lane.
It is very aggressive, I think. Marty just trying to finish it out and get on to the next match. He's wanting to get out of Michael's way.
Bob Learn Jr. coming to the plate. And we will bring you that match in its entirety. As soon as the players are done here with the 10th frame, we'll take a small break.
Bob comes in, throws his practice shots, get a little loosened up, familiar with the lanes, and we will be back.
Bob Learn Jr. and I joined the tour the same year back in 1981. Bob's got $1.3 million in career earnings. So during the break, I'm going to hit him up for a loan.
And Bob is now a coach at Martin Methodist in Tennessee. He is taking on a new avenue in life.
We are going to break. Michael Hagen Jr. advances to take on Bob Learn Jr. More right after this. We are back. It is semifinal match. Bob Learn Jr. now taking on Michael Haugen Jr. Let's listen to John Weber.
Let's give him a nice round of applause to start the match. Bob Learn starting the match.
And Bob Learn Jr. is going to start, which means he'll finish on the right lane. And it was his choice. He's the higher seed.
And I don't blame him after watching practice. That left lane is hooking unbelievably, so he is trying to figure out how to get to the pocket. He 8-10. He moved in, obviously, because of the hook, and then caught the oil. And that ball didn't read the back at all.
Yeah, it never picked up. And not a very good break to start. But I always said if you're going to have an open frame, have it in the first frame.
Yeah, as hard as he throws it, he could bounce the pin out and still spare and shoot 290. And, okay, 279. You got to look at the positive. Michael has changed balls on the right lane. He's going to that hypercell fuse even on the right lane now. Something to get him down the lane a little cleaner, because obviously the area that they've been playing is starting to burn.
That motion looked pretty good. Johnny Petraglia stopped by, wanted us to give a shout out to Bruce Hall, who donated $500 of his own money to BVL on his way out. He was getting ready to leave to probably either head to Brentwood or go home for a day, and he said, Johnny, here's a check for $500.
He just got through bowling. He just received the check for bowling, and he turned around and wrote a check for BVL. So now we're throwing two different balls. He's throwing the IQ Sonic on the left lane, symmetrical ball, and Hypercell Fuse on the right lane, asymmetrical ball.
Walter Ray standing right next to our booth. Walter Ray, let me ask you, you got your practice prior to your title match. Did you see a big difference in the two lanes?
I only threw 4 shots there in between that before this match, and my first shot hooked, and my next 3 shots all went light. So at least I get 8 more practice shots before I get on there the next match, and hopefully I can make better shots and get the ball lined up better to the pocket, because I don't want to go week 10, week 10, week 10 all game.
All right, thanks, Walter Ray.
That was 3 week 10s in a row. Bob Learn on the spare. Now to figure out what he's going to do on this left lane, because I think he got a little bit befuddled there when the ball didn't make the turn. He left the A10.
Ryan, did you have them real different? Ryan Shafer standing right next to Walter Ray. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to put Ryan on.
How you doing, Randy? Good, buddy. How are you? Good. Yeah, I had the left lane, probably a couple boards more plus a ball different. Those pairs were like that all week. 9 through 16, the left-hand lane hooked more, except 11 and 12, lane 12 hooked more. But I couldn't get the ball to go through the pins. So, you know, the right lane, I got caught between balls because I wanted to throw a bigger ball, and I was afraid to move a little too far left quick because I didn't want to get too far left quick. So I tried to manipulate that, but the kingpin wouldn't go through.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Ryan, I'll ask you real quick. What do you think between the two lanes, which is the better of the two?
Well, I like the left lane better.
You think the left lane's better?
Where a straighter player would like the right lane better.
Because?
Because they don't have to get left. They can just go up against it. If they miss right, it corrects it.
Gotcha. So straighter. If you're going to go straighter, right lane's better. If you're going to open it up a little bit, left lane better. Thanks, Ryan. Great week for Ryan Shafer, making the top 5 for the first time. Where are we in score? I don't know where we are in score. Oh, there. And Hagen Jr. perfect through 3. Almost $800,000 in career earnings for Michael Haugen Jr. 1 career major and 4 career standard tour titles.
Michael's moved in on that right lane. He's playing it a little more up 7-8 straight. He's not getting it out to the right quite as much. On the left lane, the hooking lane, he's into 10, out to 5.
Using a weaker ball.
Yep, symmetrical ball.
Both Walter Ray and Ryan Shafer told us that the left lane hooks more. So he's using something a little weaker on that lane, and he's a little bit left.
He's actually curving a little bit instead of being quite so direct.
Right. And a red-hot start for Michael Haugen Jr. Bob Learn now needs to step up and double up here in the 4th, working on a strike.
Bobby is firing that. He can't believe that the ball didn't actually check up the right way. He's a little bit confused right now.
He's trying to use friction to get his ball there, but it's not reading it.
No, not as hard as he throws it. He's a strong guy, and he just absolutely amps through it. You can see the ball basically just stop right before it gets to the head pin.
I mean, not the greatest of breaks, really, Tom.
Well, for him, this 4-pin is going to be easy to pick up. But, you know, when you got a guy throwing a 4-bagger at you, you need to start striking.
Absolutely. Johnny Petraglia stopped by and told us about Bruce Hall's gift. We also talked about how when his son, Johnny Petraglia Jr., was a small lad, 5 or 6 years old, how we were at Johnny's house. We've told the story before on Xtra Frame, and how I broke his bed, body slamming him into his bed. John said, well, you know, he just got a new house in Vegas. And I said, well, great, I'll go to his new house in Vegas and break that bed.
Take video, will you?
Is there another way? Look at that.
Wow. he moved in a little farther, but he sent it to that dry. You get to that dry too quick, and the ball just boomerangs, which that just did.
Well, and that could have been a little bit more hand, too, because of the fact that he's been coming in light. And as soon as you touch the holes and get it to the right, it's going to duck hook.
Yeah. Double negative. Not a good idea. So you got to learn something off of watching Michael Haugen throw, and you got to figure out how can I do what he's doing and get the ball in the same spot so it rolls up to the pocket the same way, because he's obviously got a pretty good line to the hole. Bobby's got to figure out something pretty quick, because if Michael stays as hot as he's got his hand right now, Bobby will never catch him.
Well, if Learn strikes out, he should 238. If Haugen strikes in the 5th and 6th, he'll be in the 240s.
Michael's game's so simple. He's just straight through it, right up the back of it, let the ball roll. A lot of heavy roll, but it does the right thing. It's almost like his ball never reads the front and dead flushes one for the front 5.
It doesn't read the front. I mean, it's so clean through the front. Watch the rev rate here out of his hand. That ball's not doing a whole lot until it gets about right there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's revving at all. And on the other hand, Bob Learn's ball looks like it's chewing wood as soon as it leaves his hand.
Like it's eating the surface off of the lane.
Michael doing the same thing with that IQ Sonic. He's just letting the lane take it. He's not reading the front part of the lane at all. And when he follows through, he's got that fist made. It looks like he just grabbed a handful of it, but it's not revving off of his hand. Bobby's got to be in deep thought here. What I got to figure out something, and I got to string the next 6 to put some pressure back on him.
Too much over-under for Bob Learn Jr.
Bobby's throwing a katana with a little bit of surface on it, and it's just either picks up too soon or then he tries to adjust with that and gets it too long down the lane. The katana's pin up. He said he hadn't had a lot of luck with pin down stuff, leaving a lot of 10s, so he's throwing the pin up. But when you throw something pin up when there's this much back end, the ball tends to want to just jump off of the pattern.
Last year, Bob Learn made 6 stepladder finals without a victory. Well, what a season he had in 2017.
You just got to find a way to win after he gets to the show. I just think he puts a little pressure on himself, and he throws it maybe with too much power and too much hand and creates some of his own over-under, you know?
And it's so hard in a one-game match, and you only get a little bit of practice anyway. And this is a pretty good adjustment by Bob, and that ball ended up in the right spot, but it's too little too late.
Michael Haugen perfect through 6.
What happened there, Tom?
That ball was just right. It seemed a little farther right of target, and with his hand as he scoots it through the front, that ball just never picked up on the back end to make the turn. He had it too far right compared to where he'd been throwing it. He'd been throwing it up like 7-8, and that was more out like 5-6. And if you miss it right and have no hand in it, not good. I noticed all these guys, old school, you know, they taught us to shoot spares cross lane, but a lot of the players today shoot spares, especially left side spares on the left side of the lane. How do you shoot them?
Cross lane.
Cross lane?
Old school.
Old school?
E.J. Tackett is famous for that. He'll shoot a 4-pin from the left side. He also throws a backup ball at any 3, 6, 9, 10 combination.
I think he just thought of something. The lights went on.
Good carry there. That low rev rate where it's so super clean through the front, it really stores, and so when it goes through the pins, it goes through the pins with a lot of energy.
Yeah, Bobby's got such a hand. And if you look at his right forearm compared to his left forearm, it's kind of like Simonelli.
It's like he has 3 legs.
Yeah, he's just, and he's so strong. And if you look at his rev rate off of his hand compared to Mike's, it's not the same.
No.
But he did have a 300 today. They don't call him Mr. 300 for nothing.
True, very true. He's got like 472 300 games?
At least. The ones he's counting anyway.
And this was back in the day when 300s were kind of tough to come by.
Yeah.
Bob had over 100 before anybody.
Now it just seems like there's a lot of people with 100.
Well, things have changed.
Dreaded 10-pin, and that's pretty much game, set, match.
Yep. Michael Hagen Jr. is going to advance to take on the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
Exactly. It'll be interesting to see how Walter plays him with the left lane breaking down, if he's going to use surface or if he's going to use something not so surface. He might even go two-handed.
Not so surface?
Not so surfaced.
Man, you silver-tongued devil.
Yeah, how do you like that? That's kind of like, yeah, it's more gooder.
Oh, good stuff, Tom Carter. Michael Haugen Jr. finishing up here, possible 276. But more importantly, he's trying to make sure that he's perfectly lined up for one more game against the greatest ever.
And you better be lined up, because if Walter gets it, he definitely strikes a lot.
See, in the last 2 shots, he went light, bucket, and now he goes 4-pin on that lane. And, Walter Ray's watching this action going, yeah, I wonder if I should make him finish on the right lane.
Walter's got some hand tricks. He'll figure out something.
No doubt. And I expect him to hit the pocket with every shot thrown, and it's just a matter if he gets the 10-pin out.
Right. I think Michael's doing a little experimenting. I'm surprised he didn't throw the Sonic on the right lane, because he's been transitioning about halfway through every game, changing balls. Another 10-pin. So things are changing on the lane.
And that's typically what we see in how fast lanes transition. You're locked in, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Well, on a pattern like this where it's so short, and if you get in quick, you're pushing some of that conditioner out to the right, and you can create your own wiggle spots. But everybody using the balls that they're using, as we call them today, big balls with a lot of surface, it burns up the front part of the lane. He went back to the idle just to slow down the back end.
244 for Michael Haugen Jr. He will advance to take on Walter Ray Williams Jr.
If Walter wins, it'll be what, his 108th PBA title?
Yeah, his 12th senior title, and that will tie him with a couple of other players out here that have 12 titles on the senior tour. Trying to think of who those 2 guys are.
Dale Eagle.
Yeah. Dale Eagle has 12 senior or PBA 50 titles?
Yep.
No way. Holy cow. No wonder he's in the Hall of Fame.
Jeff
Senior
is
category.
looking it up.
Tom Baker?
Yes.
Boom. Got it before you did. Just came to me like a vision.
Yeah. You just remembered 2 minutes before the show started when I showed that to you.
Whoa.
Flashed in front of your eyes.
Wow.
Back at you.
How about anybody get the number of that bus? We will be back for the title match here at the Johnny Petraglia BVL Open presented by Brunswick. Stay with us, folks. All right, it is the title match. Randy Peterson, Jeff Goodger, Phil Brylow, Curtis Von Kruger, and joining us special guest with his insight, Tom Carter. super senior Tom Carter.
Super senior.
Got a check this week.
I did.
Tom, what do you like, or how do you like the decision Walter Ray made by letting Haugen finish on the right lane?
I don't think that was a decision that made him any different than anything else. But what he looked at, Walter looked in this practice looked like he had a great shot. He figured out a trick, get the ball down the lane. I think he's going to stay right, throw it hard, and do what he does best.
Well, here's a stat for you. As the greatest of all time steps up on the right lane, almost $5 million in career earnings.
Ten-pin.
Soft 10. And we talked about it prior to the start of this match. The key for Walter Ray was to get the weak 10 out.
And he said it himself. And I think he's got to stay right and throw it as hard as he possibly can because he naturally gets the ball through the front part of the lane. He's just, if he gets his angles right, let that ball grab and just turn to the pocket. In practice, that's what it looked like he was doing.
See if we can see it on this next shot. But one of the things that I've always talked about, and one of the things we always try to teach, is a swing that comes a little out to in. This guy pioneered that swing. Watch this swing direction as the swing comes out and then tucks to the end on the way down. Out to in.
Ooh, trips the 4. Barely good. The 7-4-7 just kind of like nudges it out. And when you watch him on camera and you get in line with that swing, you can really see it go out and it comes back in to a good leverage point, and that's what allows him to stay so straight and so firm with it because his arm is right next to his side, right next to his ankle as he goes through it.
Well, you would much rather have the swing go from out to in than in to out.
Yeah, if you go in to out, you're going around the ball. So he went to the Sonic on the right lane.
He's juggling balls like a court jester.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the ball he was using on the left lane the last game, and now he's using it on the right lane. He's using the idle on the left lane.
Yeah, there he goes. He's using the idle on the left. So he's trying to slow down that back end because he knows that the lane's kind of fried, and he needs not to have it overhook. And some of these balls, when they see friction, they want to go left fast. And that looked to be like the right move. That's the most excitement I've seen out of Mike Haugen in any show he's made. He snaps one out, because he knows he made the right decision.
Well, I think that he snapped this one off because that was going high, and it just kind of laid there at the last second for a high flush hit. That's the front 3 for MHJ. I can't tell what kind of 10-pin that is. It sounded like a ring 10.
And he was right in the way we couldn't see.
We'll see it here.
Replay.
It was.
Yep, a ring 10. It didn't quite get high enough in the pocket.
So not a good sign when you go flat 10, ring 10 on the same lane.
No.
Just saying.
I would think that he might create a little bit more loft. Get it down the lane. Walter's got lots of tricks that he can do, so the idea is to figure out how to get that ball to strike. Right now he's down a few pins, but he doesn't ever panic, so he always knows there's time. That's the thing about you guys that have all these titles. You keep it in perspective, the time. It doesn't go so fast for you. Slow motion.
Almost a stone 7. Take a look. All the way to your left. The 7-pin. How dare you?
Oh, the 4 goes around and just snaps the bottom of it a little bit.
That was a drive-by.
Yes.
That's what that was.
So that he almost had the 4-7 in the previous frame and the 7-pin this frame. There's got to be a move on that left lane. Biggest thing is how do you get out the 10 on the right lane.
And the other big thing is, will this guy ever stop striking?
Yeah. Well, obviously, he likes playing it out. He likes playing it straight. And you got 2 guys that like playing it straight. But he went to a weaker ball on this lane, but still stronger on the back end. He's figured out a way to get that ball up high flush.
That's a great point. High flush will certainly increase your carry percentage.
You know, certain centers you see half pocket strike all day long, but
Not here.
not here. Half pocket gets you a lot of 10 pins. He's walking them out. Got the front 5 at Walter.
So now as a player, Walter Ray's been in this position before, and he's got to be saying to himself, okay, I got to start striking now. I've left 2 10 pins in a row on this right lane, and for me to have any chance, I better carry the 10 on this next shot.
And he probably makes moves, and his moves are minor when he's that close to the pocket. Oh, he fisted that. He thought it was there, and now he's like, what do I have to do to strike? And he probably moved. When I go out and talk to him, he's like, did you move a board? No, I moved a quarter board. And he makes minor moves when he's that close to the pocket. And like you said earlier, he's going to hit the pocket every shot, whether he strikes or not. Using a black diamond for his spare ball.
Oh, we've been talking about it. I've talked about it ever since I saw it in the Villages, my first Xtra Frame event of the season. Love the black diamond, just so you know. Was it like a late 60s ball?
Yeah, at least. Hard rubber.
Mm-hmm. Got the cork inside?
Yep. Hates drilling those things. They stink like crazy.
Boy, they sure do.
Oh, my Lord.
Smelled like a trash fire. Look at that
Oh,
hit.
can opener.
That hit carries the 2 ring 10s on the right lane. Don't. Walter Ray Williams Jr. now in trouble. His max score, if I can do the quick math, 30, 60, 90, 220, 250 still possible. Michael Hagen Jr. perfect through 5.
Our next stop, Brentwood, California. You going to be there?
No, sir.
Oh, come on.
They don't allow me in the state anymore. Kidding. I grew up in Southern California. Yeah.
Oh.
Got that to the dry a little early.
Got it there early, and it faced right up, right through the face. I mean, that could have been really ugly.
So now if Walter Ray can figure out a way to convince the pins on the right lane who he is and get that 10 pin out, we might have a match coming down in the 9th and 10th frame.
Most definitely. The right lane is obviously his nemesis right now. He's made some adjustments, and you can. Last time when he took the approach, he's looking down and kind of shaking his head, going, "What do I have to do to knock that 10 pin out of here?"
Well, I'm not going to give him the flat 10 in the first frame, but I could certainly give him the one in the 3rd and the 5th, and that would give him spare 5-bagger, and he would have a 2-pin lead with just those 2 hits.
Oh, that's something you didn't see a lot of either. That 6 just kind of nudging that 10 out of there.
A little bump on the 10 here for Michael Hagen Jr.
It just looks like he grabs a handful of it at the bottom, and and the ball just scoots down the lane effortlessly.
Got to have this one to have any chance.
Looks like he moved farther right, get it higher in the pocket, and what's he do? He did get it higher in the pocket, leaves a solid 9.
Unbelievable. Micro-managing and adjustments, and now it's a solid 9. And you know what, folks? There's nothing you can do about that as a player. All you can do is execute to the best of your ability, and there's just times where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the only control you got's a 15-foot approach. After the ball leaves your hand, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You can make the greatest shot in the world and not get rewarded for it.
And honestly, this match should be a lot closer than it is.
I don't think Walter is looking for a Dutch 200. I mean, that's not even.
I mean, flat 10, ring 10, stone 9. Come on, John. What is that?
So Walter can strike out for 230, and he's going to need some help from Haugen to make this a match. Michael, get this one. You can hear the door starting to shut.
I just felt it. Well, his execution's been really good today.
I think Jeff was right. He was a little upset he had to finish and start in third when he led the tournament. He had a point to prove. I led this tournament for a reason.
Well, and you know, he's made the right adjustments and the right ball changes for each lane.
Well, that's the impressive part.
But he's also executed.
Right. Well, he executed, but making the right ball choices, flipping back and forth, you know, throwing multiple different balls, throwing 3 different balls through the course of this show. Oh, that looked like a 7-10, and it ended up being a strike.
His tournament.
Yep.
When you have things going your way like that, when your opponent has done what Walter Ray has done, it is your time to shine. And check out that great break for Michael Hagen Jr., who's going to win for the 2nd time on the PBA50 Tour. What?
Yeah, when you don't...
Always when it's over.
Right, when you don't need one, the pins know that. I swear to God somebody tells them.
I mean, this isn't much different than the last 4 shots he's thrown on this lane.
That looked like the shot he left the 9-pin on.
Yeah, and finally catches a hit. Still 230 max score for Walter Ray Williams Jr., but he ran into a buzzsaw, and he had horrible carry on the right lane. And
of course he strikes on the right lane, and now the left lane takes off.
Yep. Another solid week for Walter Ray Williams Jr., making his 3rd out of 4 weeks, 3rd Stepladder finals in 4 weeks. And he'll head off to Brentwood and try to win another one.
As long as Walter's out here, he's probably going to be in the stepladder. It's almost kind of like Ron Moore. It always seems like, and Ron almost made it to the stepladder today. He finished 6th.
You want me to go out there now?
We're pretty close. Yeah, it's over. General announce. We'll go right into it. Sorry, Tom.
Michael Haugen just putting the finishing touches on this match. Yeah. When you get to this point, you just throw the ball, you know it's over. It seems like everything off your hand is going to strike now. A great tournament for Michael Haugen. He led the tournament, just had some bad breaks in the position around match play, dropped to 3rd, but came back to win the tournament, the Johnny Petraglia BVL Open. Big thank you to John Laspina and his family for hosting the tournament. Great facility, great people. Looking forward to being back next year. And as soon as Michael throws this last shot, Randy will be out for the interview, the Xtra Frame interview, right here in Farmingdale. Congratulations to Michael Haugen.
How about a nice round of applause for the greatest of all time, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Michael, congratulations on winning your 2nd PBA50 event. You were juggling balls like a court jester today. How were you able to figure out the right ball for the correct lane?
Well, number one is knowing your bag. Knowing what your balls do in your bag is similar to a golf game when you know what your 6-iron, 7-iron do. It's kind of how I set my bowling bag up, and today it was very beneficial. Everyone knows a 10-pin here is a big problem, and towards the end of yeah, no joke, right? So towards the end of each game, my ball started slipping a little bit, so I just made some good guesses, and I was fortunate that when I started each game, I guessed right.
What does this 2nd win on this tour mean to you?
Well, it's number 2, obviously, but this top 5 was pretty special. I mean, anytime you compete, Walter, that's saying something. I mean, he's the greatest of all time. He's got more wins than anybody, and he doesn't give you many opportunities to beat him. So I knew I had to get on him early and just keep it on him, and I was fortunate. Today was my day. I mean, I made good shots, and I was fortunate to get a couple hits. So.
And what's next?
Maybe a regional in a couple days. We're going to bowl a PBA50 regional in Lorraine, bowl that, and then I'm going to go play Pebble Beach, man.
Congratulations, Mike. Enjoy it.